Hello and welcome back to Alternate Ending, where we are still discovering good movies, one bad movie at a time. I'm your host for this week, Brennan Klein, and with me are two returning champions of the alternate ending sphere. We've got Andrew Milne. How are you doing, Andrew?
Doing good, Brennan. Especially like now I seem to have been upgraded to a champion. That's a good appellation.
You are a champion. Yeah, the two of you have and also just navigating the time zone nonsense that it has taken to even get this recording put together. You are both champions just of the day, let alone of, oh my God, I have lost my mind. You are champions for today and champions for all time. You've been on a lot of podcast episodes, is what I'm saying. I'm going to introduce the other guest today, which is Gavin McDowell. How are you doing, Gavin?
Hello. I don't know about this champion nonsense. I don't feel like one. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
That's.
You don't have to.
I don't know. Is that okay? No. What? I don't know what that. I don't know what that refers to. Is it something on Zoom or is it just?
It is just a thing that I said. Don't even worry about it.
Okay. Okay. I've already forgotten.
Do you want me to insult you or just not just be neutral?
Like I always tell my wife, you don't have to insult me. You don't have to praise me. Just don't insult me. Just don't say anything.
Okay, so I will next time I'll just introduce you as Gavin is here.
Yes.
Gavin is here.
Indeed. And I presume he has come with a movie to talk about in the movie roundtable. Am I correct, Gavin?
Oh boy, I've seen so many movies this past week. I'm not sure which one I should talk about.
Okay,
sure
what are your options?
First?
What are you weighing? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, this past week, I have seen. I don't know if I should begin on Saturday or Sunday. Let's begin on. I saw Sentimental Value, which is the new film from the worst person in the world, people. It's like a Norwegian film that apparently the movie prophets have said this will be a Best Picture nominee. So I saw it and it was very mediocre. And then I saw Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie with my little girl, and that was. I have lots of notes on that film. And then the one I saw explicitly to talk about is 1968's The Detective, starring Frank Sinatra. Same day I caught The Running Man, the 1987 adaptation of The Running Man, to prepare for this episode in which we'll discuss the 2025 adaptation. And then just yesterday I saw Kristen Stewart's directorial feature debut, The Chronology of Water. So which of those is most interesting to you guys?
I am curious about The Detective because we have history with the oeuvre of Roderick Thorpe, you and I.
That is exactly the reason that I picked it. Okay, so The Detective is an adaptation of a novel by Roderick Thorpe, who I gather, based on the novel of his I've read, and the content of this movie, is a pretty terrible writer and sounds like a miserable human being. This movie is not exactly interesting in itself. It's interesting because after the success of the novel and movie, Roderick Thorpe wrote a sequel called Nothing Lasts Forever in the 70s, like 74. And it too was adapted into film in 1988 with a different title. And that title is Die Hard. So that makes it sound like the novel might be exciting and good, like the movie Die Hard. But Andrew and I have read the novel, and it is not. It is not exciting and good. It is miserable and racist, and kind of nasty-minded in ways that are not fun. Because I've read many airport novels of this ilk that are somewhat fun. This one was not. This was something I chose for the book club I run in our Discord, and it was the second time we had done the meeting. And I think I almost killed the book club dead by picking this novel, kind of blind. Brennan, you were involved in the very first month as well, and you jumped ship at the right moment. It's right after we finished Roadside Picnic. Andrew and I were the only people who could finish it. More people started, but they couldn't finish it.
Deeply misanthropic novel.
Yes, so we were both curious about the movie that is the prequel to Die Hard. That sounds like something you might want to watch. And we tried to watch it together, but we were thwarted by the gods of copyright. As being a dual citizen, I have access to credit cards from two different monetary systems, so I could fool Amazon into actually purchasing the movie, but I couldn't get someone in the UK to actually watch it with me through any legal means. And then we just gave up. But I still had this movie sitting around, so I decided to watch it. And it is all right. So Frank Sinatra plays the detective. He is a public detective, though he's a police officer named Joe Leland, which is who became John McClane in Die Hard, and he is investigating the murder of a gay man who was involved in a bad lovers' quarrel that ended up with him being bludgeoned to death and missing fingers and his penis. And this happens very like in the opening scenes, and he runs into the socialite that was this man's beard, and she says almost immediately, "I knew he was gay, but he was civilized, unlike you cops." And that is the level we're operating at for the 114 minutes of this film, which also features a young Robert Duvall and no one else I really recognize. It was directed by Douglas Gordon, I believe, who is most famous for the movie Them, which did not help him. But I guess it's interesting is in 68 was the year the Hays Code was put to bed, right? And they decided to do the sleaziest thing they could think of, and the thing they could think of was what was the life like of gay men in the late 60s. And frankly, it feels like an episode of Police Squad or the Naked Gun series, except that the lines are not staged as jokes. And I excerpted. It's like he even has like a black. Oh, there's another person. He has a black assistant partner played by Sugar Ray Robinson. So there you go. We have a sports icon playing the aide de camp of the detective. And at one point he ties a suspect to a chair naked because it's a technique he learned from watching video rolls of German concentration camps. And then Sinatra is supposed to be like a woke cop, berates him for acting like a fascist, so he believes that fascism and corruption in the police department are bad. It's kind of a vile movie. Its depiction of homosexuals and homosexuality is problematic.
1968 depictions of homosexuality were generally flawed, I would say.
Remind me, this is the same year in which The Producers came out, and it's operating on that level again without the jokes, and all the women characters are treated like children. I think I've gotten enough. Like, if you want something that's like unintentional camp, it might be worth it if you're like deathly curious. It might be worth it. In general, I would not recommend watching this film, but I've given you a taste of the experience of watching it.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think it's one that I will rush out to see, but I am curious about vintage gay things made by straight people and just looking at the kaleidoscopic nonsense that kind of ensues from that.
There's a lot of nonsense. Oh,
yeah. What kind of piques my interest is that, 1968 was the same year that Bullet came out, which sort of precipitated that sort of wave of gritty, urban cop dramas in the States. And I read your Letterboxd review of this, Gavin, and from what I understand of it, it sounds like this is sort of the hangover from the old days of the studio system where, like, okay, we don't have the Hays Code hanging over us anymore, but we also don't really know how to make something gritty, hence sort of like having, oh God, his name's just gone out of my head. Frank
Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra, thank you. God, I wanted to say Frank Stallone there for a moment, which just, oh God,
no,
where my head's at today.
Wrong Frank.
But, no, it seems like it would make an odd contrast with something like Dirty Harry or The French Connection, right, just a few years later.
It feels like it's trying to do that, but also there are several flashback sequences in this film, and they all use the doodly-doo sound effect to go back to them. And it's just, that's part of the unintentional camp. It made me laugh so hard. It kind of has to be seen to be believed. And I have no intention of ever reading the novel, so I think I'm done with Roderick Thorpe for the rest of my life, except repeat watches of Die Hard.
No, that seems very fair. Honestly, you've been selling it in the last minute and a half to me. But Andrew, do you have a movie you're bringing to the round table today?
I do. I have. Okay, so I need to caveat my choice of my roundtable pick up front.
Okay.
A couple of things. First of all, recently, earlier this month, I was quite sick. I was laid up with a chest infection for a week or so. And for a while there, I was struggling to get out of bed. I was basically just laid up in bed for most of the week, just sort of drifting in and out of consciousness with the TV on. The other caveat I need to raise up front is that I am an idiot. I don't learn from my mistakes, and it's quite possible that I hate myself. Which is
So what
why
did you
I
watch?
which is why I spent the 6.5 requisite hours watching the director's cut versions of Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon movies.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. So
okay.
So you probably remember, or maybe you don't, his magnum opus, this sort of two parts sci-fi spectacular that debuted on Netflix back in, I think part one came out the Christmas of 2023, part two came out a few months later, April of 2024. Those were the watered down versions, effectively. They were the ones that were about 2 hours apiece, titled Part One, A Child of Fire, and Part Two, The Scar Giver. And they were pretty much excoriated critically on the first glimpse. But the whole strategy that Snyder and Netflix worked out for these ahead of time is that they had this idea in their mind that Zack Snyder is the guy who does director's cuts, right? He's the guy who, for years and years, his version of Justice League was this film that fanboys were clamoring after, and making all these sort of like grassroots fan campaigns to sort of bring it into the limelight. And eventually that happened, and Snyder Cut, for whatever else its virtues, was a lot better received than the theatrical cut of that film. So I think they kind of got it in their heads. They learned exactly the wrong lessons from this, which is, okay, we're going to make the film that we want to make with basically unlimited budget, make this sort of 6.5 hour, two-part epic, all R rated, and then we're going to edit it down to completely arbitrary PG-13 restrictions that nobody is enforcing upon us. And hopefully this will generate interest in the real version of the movie. And it absolutely did not. It killed the real version of the film Stone Dead. So
Yeah,
even though these have been
you can't pre-plan a thing like what happened with Justice League. There's no
exactly
controversy. There's no story there.
no exactly they were consciously withholding the real version of the movie, for want of a better word, in order to sort of stir up to astroturf this demand, which completely and utterly did not work. I don't know of anyone else who has actually watched the director's cuts, because the original versions, the attenuated, sort of watered down, cut down versions, were so egregiously bad. But given my circumstances earlier this month, I decided, what, I'm just gonna bite the bullet and just see what the actual story is here. And are they better? The answer is yes. They are better than the original cuts. They're still not great. The thing is, Caleb, I think he put the second part of the original releases on his like worst of 2024 list. And I think what he said a few episodes back was, like, how is this someone's passion project? Like, how is it that, you just hand Zack Snyder a blank check and he makes this incredibly lame Star Wars knockoff? And now, having seen the main event, the real thing, I kind of get it. Like, I understand now how this could have been someone's passion project. There's a lot more space given over to these kind of weird, wacky alien designs, these strange sort of Frank Frazetta painting type biomes, a lot more zest taken in sort of the bloody violence and the sex and the nudity, and it all feels very sort of Boris Vallejo, heavy metal, as in like Metal Hurlant, the French comic books. Um, and I kind of get how this was someone's vision. It still suffers from being really ugly. It suffers from the plot making no sense, and it really suffers from the first half of the second movie, where we slow the whole proceeding down for about an hour to watch villagers harvest wheat in this series of folk music montages, and it is close to genuinely unwatchable. So, not not exactly a sort of redemption arc, so to speak, but I it's an interesting artifact. I'm kind of glad that I made time for it just to sort of get the just to sort of understand what was going through their minds when they came up with this whole thing.
So it sounds like it was a pure Zack Snyder vision, but maybe he has an astigmatism. Like there's just
Yes, exactly that. Yeah, I
maybe
do
it was
get the
never
impression
going to
there
be
are
what it
going.
needed to be.
I do get the impression they want to make more, is the thing, because it does end on a cliffhanger. And the perverse thing is because Netflix measures all the wrong metrics for their original programming. Like apparently there was something like 90 million eyeballs across these movies in their original run. So it's entirely possible they're going to continue this story, regardless of whether, it's almost like dead internet theory at this point. It wouldn't surprise me.
I don't know though, because Zack Snyder's Netflix projects have a habit of overpromising. Like he did get that prequel to Army of the Dead made somehow, Army of Thieves. But they had this totally DOA like animated series that was supposed to be a follow up to it and a sequel that's
Oh, I
not
forgot
happening.
about that. Yeah. Oh, so do we know that for sure that Planet of the Dead is DOA?
Last I checked, I think it was. It's been a while since I've written about it because I believe because it is dead.
Fair.
But yeah, no, he promised so much shit in this expanded Rebel Moon universe. It's like there's going to be prequel comic books and a cartoon show and another sequel and all this shit, and I don't think any of that's going to happen.
Yeah,
but you never know.
It's exactly what they tell sort of creative people not to do in the first instance is sort of like overpromise and underdeliver, and
Yep.
he's really bad for that. Like I am sort of something of a Snyder apologist sometimes, a little bit, but he's really bad with that tendency.
Yeah, and well, also in studios and streamers love that because everybody's chasing and they want an MCU, and nothing is the MCU, not even the MCU anymore.
No.
So sorry to Rebel Moon.
Andrew, what is the combined runtime of these extended versions? Or I guess
Just shy of 6.5 hours, including credits.
so each installment is 3 hours.
Yeah, the first one is 3.5. The second is just under 3. I think there is about 2 hours of footage added from the original sort of PG-13 cuts, and a lot of the sort of there's also existing scenes that have been redone with added sort of gore and swearing, which was apparently a high priority.
I'm sure it was. It's like back in the day when they used to withhold the blood and guts and swearing for the unrated DVD releases of movies.
Yeah, but it's also done in kind of a lame way is the thing, because it feels like it's all these sort of very digital ropey strands of, exit wounds that they're very conspicuously could be edited out in post-production. So
Oh.
it doesn't have that visceral weight to it, any of it.
Got it. So they just unchecked the box that said like blood spray and they just put it back
Exactly,
in.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, unfortunately, I think my pick for the movie roundtable is going to complete an unholy trinity of terrible movies. Because unfortunately, the movie I would have wanted to talk about today was Twinless, but Caleb recently covered that in his worth mentioning, or in his roundtable. And I will just second Caleb's review. I think Twinless is spectacular. I think it's a really great time. I really recommend it. Dylan O'Brien is not going to get any awards recognition for it. Not that it matters, but he should. But unfortunately, what I shall bring in lieu of Twinless is the directorial debut of Aziz Ansari, Good Fortune, which is the movie that, if you know this movie, you know it because Keanu Reeves is playing a guardian angel. He plays this like bumbling angel who really wants to guide lost souls. He wants to be kind of promoted at his angel job because his whole thing is that he's just stopping people from texting and driving, and he thinks he can accomplish so much more than that. And he kind of seizes the opportunity to try and teach Aziz Ansari as a down-on-his-luck kind of TaskRabbit gig worker, to teach him that his life isn't all that bad. And he does it by switching his life with Seth Rogen, who plays his new boss, who's this like rich tech bro asshole guy. And it's not a body swapping movie. It is a life swap movie where it's like, okay, Aziz Ansari, you look like you and you have your name, but now you just have Seth Rogen's life. It doesn't. They don't over explore what the fuck that means, and I think that's good because there is a line that gets dropped about how like Aziz Ansari's dad no longer knows who he is, and like, well, then who is his dad? So that's a bit confusing. But anyway, this movie just doesn't have an engine. The plot just sits there and goes nowhere and does nothing. It's about characters sitting around talking about how much it sucks to not have a job. And I'm like, oh, it does. It's not very funny. So it's just a comedy with no jokes, telling a high concept story with no story. And look, I'm really sorry to the people who have done the work of rehabilitating the reputation of Keanu Reeves, but he gives one of the worst performances of the year in this movie. The only thing that's stopping it from being the worst is the fact that Aristotle Athari was the one of the characters in Megan 2, and that's certainly the flattest performance of the decade. So Keanu Reeves is at least better than that. But he performs like he just overworked his acting muscles at the gym, and he's sore, and it pains him to deliver dialogue. Like he's delivering it like he is physically stiff, and it is damaging his body to repeat this dialogue. And the only jokes in the movie are, what dumb shit can we get Keanu Reeves to say? And the fact that he can't say it in a way that feels like it's not even inhuman enough that you're like, oh, he's an angel, he doesn't get the human world. It's just nothing. It's just flat. And I do not think it's worth it to see Keanu Reeves flatly saying stuff like, I like chicken nuggies. It's very poisonously unfunny.
I thought the thing about Keanu Reeves wasn't so much that they made him a better actor, but they found the right roles for him. I was a bit like Schwarzenegger in that sense, that his limitations have to be applied correctly.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I would be inclined to agree with that. Although people seem to think that, I mean, look, I've seen the first 2 John Wick movies, but I only really remember the first one, and I think that big monologue he has is pretty awful in the first John Wick. So I don't even know if John Wick is the right role for him.
Well, really. So I actually really like that speech in the first John Wick. So like I can agree to disagree on that one. But yeah, by and large, I agree with Gavin. It's it is a case of him like channeling that sort of weird, sort of spaced out energy he has. That sort of Hawaiian stoner kind of vibe into parts where it sort of has a interesting resonance, and when that doesn't work, it's just poisonous. The last thing I can think of is like the Day the Earth Stood Still remake, which similarly he's where again he's sort of like playing a sort of otherworldly being, and it just does not take even a little bit.
Yeah, and no, I think you're right, and I don't mean to unilaterally slam Keanu Reeves. I mean, I recently watched My Own Private Idaho for the first time, and he is not a damaging factor in that movie. A movie I did not like, but he was not a problem that I had with
Why don't you insult Aziz Ansari instead? It seems like he...
Yeah, no, see, that's the thing. I don't think Aziz Ansari is writing or directing this movie in a way that is interesting. I also do not think he is performing his own dialogue particularly well. But he gives kind of a meaningless performance, whereas Keanu Reeves is giving an actively bad performance. And yeah, if we want to blame Aziz Ansari, we totally can.
If I understand you correctly, the argument of this movie is that it's better to be a gig economy drone than to be a tech bro CEO.
It's kind of, I mean, ultimately, like Keanu Reeves learns that maybe it's kind of not. but it's basically they kind of end up with this kind of sludgy message about like maybe it sucks to be anyone, and it sucks a little bit to be rich, but not that much. I don't know. I don't really understand what it was going for, and certainly the button on Seth Rogen's character arc is one of the dumbest things in the movie. It doesn't work at all. I will say in praise of the movie, it does play my favorite Selena song on the soundtrack at one point at a taco stand, and I did get to hear a nice song for about 45 seconds. So that perked me up a little bit.
Sure. So I remember seeing the trailer and being immediately put off by this film. What I am curious to know is, do the like Halloween costume store wings that Keanu Reeves is wearing throughout ever look less stupid, or is that
They don't look less stupid, but he does lose them pretty early on. So you don't have to deal with it so much.
Okay, that's probably the right call, in fairness.
Yeah, it's probably the right call. And I guess just to wrap up, I mean, sure, and Aziz Ansari, it could be his fault because there's a lot of misdirected acting going on. A lot of the supporting roles in particular, like any kind of lead extra who shows up and has one or two lines, they are delivering baffling performances, like almost 201. I don't understand what the goal was there. One of them acts like he is fully in a live action cartoon, and other people are just drunk sounding. I don't know. It's just all wrong. It is not a movie worth watching to any degree. But hopefully, November will pick things right up, right?
We all know better.
We all know better.
Wow.
We've seen the release schedule.
We've seen the release schedule.
We live in hope.
Yeah, well, okay, we'll see. But we're here to do, regardless of whether or not these movies are going to be good, we're going to kind of take a journey through the big wide releases of November 2025, and then pick at a couple of the kind of award season / limited releases towards the end. But let's just dive on into the first weekend of the month. November 7th, we've got... Okay, so this is a movie that some people are excited about. Predator Badlands. Director Dan Trachtenberg comes back. He did Prey. He did that animated movie on Hulu for some reason. Predator Killer of Killers. Are either of you excited about Predator Badlands?
I was. Initially, when it was announced, I thought it sounded cool. As details have trickled out over the course of the marketing campaign, it has steadily lost me inch by inch. The news that it was going to be PG-13, that's a blow. Yeah, that made me, like I'm not feeling it so much.
Although I don't think there are any human characters in this movie. And
that is the argument they've been making. Yes.
Yeah, like Alien / Monster Gore, the MPA might be less mad about.
Yeah, but also like, are we necessarily paying to see that? The thing is, like, I really liked Prey. Prey was actually a good time. I thought that was certainly, like, slam dunk second best Predator movie ever made. And a big part of what made it work for me was the kind of Predator on animal violence. It sort of ramps up in a really fun way in the first act where, he encounters a snake and then I think a wolf and then a grizzly bear. Mm-hmm. And that sort of like situates him in this sort of the 18th century setting in a really fun, it's pulpy, but it feels like it situates him in a physical reality and sort of our natural environment in a good way. So I was kind of like ready to trust Dan Trachtenberg with another big swing in terms of setting. I'm not feeling it. It feels too, it just, the idea of the Predator being the protagonist just feels a bit too much of a leap.
No, I'm with you, but Gavin, you seem to be excited to say something. How are you feeling about this movie?
I'm comparatively looking forward to it. I mean, I probably will see it because I have like a really spotty record with the Predator franchise. It's a very strange franchise.
Oh yeah,
and I've always somehow I don't think I've seen any others except the original, and that's because of things like for a good part of my childhood, the only Predator sequel was Predator 2, which I avoided because I heard it was bad. And then like the ones after that were the Predator, Alien versus Predator. And then Predators comes out and I don't know if that was any good. It got like decent reviews, right? Then it's like I never remember what came out after that. Was
There
the
was
Predator the one that came
The
after
Predator.
Predators? Or was
That is the
yes.
worst Predator movie by
And then
a substantial
I
margin.
almost saw that. And then I heard that was really bad. I was like, Predators I missed because all the Predator sequels up till then had received bad reviews. Then the Predator receives bad reviews, and then Prey comes out on streaming, and I didn't watch that. And then whatever this thing came out last year, it's on streaming. So yeah, that's it. I don't know. It looks okay. Idea of the Predator as the main character doesn't bother me. Having the Weyland-Yutani android doesn't really bother me. Having the Weyland-Yutani android played by, what's her name? Elle Fanning kind of bothers me because I just saw her in that Norwegian film. And I was wondering if she was actually a good actress or not, or if she was just pretty. And something about her line deliveries annoys me in the trailers. Also, I have kind of a grudge against this film because I saw the trailer when I was taking my 2-year-old son out to see a matinee, and I really should speak to the movie theater for playing the Predator Badlands trailer before a showing of short films intended for very young children. And I hate that the Predator is subtitled. Like, why do we need to know? Why do we need to know what the Predator is saying?
Oh, is it? I missed that detail. Ooh, that is a big bummer.
And every time I see him talking, I want to substitute the subtitles with something inane, like "I want some peanuts" or something like that. It's just going to be like generic, like warrior cliches. In the trailer that I saw, he says, "I'm not the prey," and then other trailer was like, "Let's get these people" or something like that. I was like, "Yeah, that's really strict dialogue. Why do we need to know?"
Secure the perimeter.
Yes, but I don't know. It depends. If there's something more interesting coming out. If nothing more interesting is coming out November 7th, then maybe I'll see it.
Well, okay. Well, first of all, just to say,
and it's not the other major release. That's not more interesting, in my opinion.
No, certainly not. I will say, this is the U.S. release schedule that we're going for the most part. We're going to bring up some alternatives, but non-domestic territories for these Hollywood movies. They're coming when they're coming. Who the fuck knows? But yeah.
Actually, the French release schedule is pretty close to major releases, at least. New movies in France drop on Wednesdays instead of Fridays, so I get to see Predator Badlands 2 days before all of you if I really want to.
I mean, you will see it. How can you judge what is before Zero? Because I don't plan on seeing this movie. Well, yeah, okay. Anyways, I totally agree with Andrew. Like, I want to see humans fighting the Predator and winning. I don't want to see the Predator proving that it can be a better Predator than other Predators.
Yeah.
It gets into way too much lore, and I don't love, like, when we get really up our ass with what the Predators are doing and the names of all their shit.
This is what I like about the good Predator movies is how, like, the Predator is this intrusion into other genres. It's a sort of jungle, like 80s canon style action movie in the original. It's a LA cop movie in Predator 2. It's that sort of juxtaposition with other settings that kind of makes the Predator pop when it does pop. And I don't know, like, I know that there's a tradition of sort of the Alien versus Predator video games, and that's actually fairly august at this point. Those go back to like the 90s, but that just doesn't fire my imagination. I'm sorry, it just sort of feels like a generic sci-fi franchise, absent the sort of human element.
Oh, for sure. And
are you sure there are no humans in this? Because I thought there were like human soldiers in the trailer. I don't know if they're like more robots. There's definitely an army. There's an army of something. Okay,
there's an army of something.
Lame.
I don't think there are any like speaking characters who are humans, or at least ones that we have been told about ahead of time. And also I'm pretty sure. So like I would not be interested in a movie that's like exploring the Predator homeworld and what they're up to there, because it's all just killing shit. I'm not that interested. But I could understand why you would make that movie. But this one, I think the alien planet that they're on is specifically not the Predator homeworld. So it's just we're learning about Predator society just on a field trip, and that seems even less interesting to me. Anyways, is that it on Predator? Yeah.
I think so.
So we should talk about Nuremberg. Gavin, tell us about Nuremberg. You're so excited.
I mean, first of all, I didn't see this one on the French release schedule, and that's something I want to complain about. Is that prestige releases, American prestige releases, are usually withheld in France or delayed till some unfathomable month in like January, February. But anyway, this is a film about the Nuremberg trials, of which we already have a very long Stanley Kramer film from the 1960s. And this does not look like an improvement on that. In fact, it looks like bog standard Hollywood Oscar bait of the worst kind, to remind us that Nazis are evil. And everything about the trailer looked very low energy. As like Richard Slattery looks like he wants to escape. Was it John Slattery? I don't know. One of the Slattery. Can't even get his name right. The guy was from Mad Men.
Yeah, John Slattery.
John Slattery. There we go. Excuse me, Richard. Yeah, he looked like he wanted to get off that set. It focuses especially on Goering, who I am not curious about, and I know how he died, and the film treats it like it's a big surprise, or it will be a big surprise. So it's like another problem with historical movies where like the conclusion is foreordained. Like I don't know why would anyone want to see this movie? Is beyond me.
No, and the thing that baffles me most about it is that it's directed by James Vanderbilt. He's the screenwriter. He wrote the two newest Scream movies and also Ready or Not. Like he's an ex-Radio Silence guy, and I'm like, this is what you're coming out of the gate with? I don't understand why this is the play.
I checked his Wikipedia page earlier today, and apparently he was credited on both Zodiac and Independence Day Resurgence, which that is a hell of a swing to take in your career.
Sure is. Yeah, I just don't know that I trust James Vanderbilt to make this kind of sludgy historical Oscar bait nonsense.
No. I mean, I saw that it was like 2.5 hours long as well, which is...
Of course it is. Of course it is. These important films have to be important lengths. It is currently the least popular of his films, according to Letterboxd.
Well, no one's reviewed it yet, though, so I don't think it would be.
So these things can work their way up, to the top somehow. It was like people seem to know what the Best Picture nominees are before anyone's even seen the films.
Mm-hmm.
It is more important it's more popular than untitled James Vanderbilt thriller, which he has apparently written. Plot to be TBA. Okay.
Sounds thrilling. But yeah, let's move on to the next weekend. We've got two franchisee, or at least IP movies coming on November 14th. First, we've got Now You See Me, Now You Don't, the third installment in the magician heist crime, like 3% supernatural franchise. It is have you seen the first two Now You See Me movies?
I have seen the first one. I skipped the second. I remember going to see this in 2013 because this is back when I lived with a cinema en route to my work on my commute each day. So I would go to see just some like absolute random shit of an evening.
Great.
It's why I went to see like the Dwayne Johnson Hercules. Yeah, I remember seeing Now You See Me. I remember thinking it was a perfectly unobjectionable sort of glitzy puff of air. I thought it was. I had sort of a good time while I watched it, and I did not think about it one time in the 12 years after that. I do remember it being sort of the subject of a lot of punchlines when the second one came out, and everyone's immediate reaction is, why is this one not called Now You Don't? So they sort of like, they've arrived at the correct answer like 9 years late. So good for them, like better late than never, I suppose. I tend to be... I have kind of a principle that if a franchise has sort of been built from whole cloth, like if it's not based on like an old comic book or a line of Mattel toys or whatever, like I'm kind
TV
of
show.
Yeah, I'm kind of cheering it on principle, just because like I like to see the idea that something can be built from scratch in the sort of IP poisoned era of our current age. That being said, I probably it's not going to get me in the door. I don't think the hook isn't strong enough for me.
Fair enough. Yeah, Gavin.
Is this a legacy sequel? Because I was shocked that it's been 9 years since the last one, and the plot hook is they're introducing a whole new generation of magicians, with the hottest new actors like Justice Smith, filling in, for the old generation actors like Jesse Eisenberg. And I like the first one sounded fun, and then it got the middling reviews. Like Brennan, your 3-star review is the highest of my friends on Letterboxd, and that's even talking about how much you don't particularly like it. So it didn't really excite me. The same thing with the second one. I haven't seen the first two, and that's already like disqualifying. So I don't want to have to do homework to see the third one.
And it seems like you might.
Well, they still haven't gotten rid of Mark Ruffalo. I noticed that he's in the credits. Still, even though he doesn't appear in the trailers I saw.
Yeah, I was very excited by not seeing Mark Ruffalo in the trailer, but yeah, I checked to see the IMDb as well, and it seems like he's in there somewhere, unfortunately.
And all I could like the French title of this series. It's like we don't do the clever subtitles. Like the French title is literally The Unseizables, and it cannot be seized. And this one's just The Unseizables number 3. It's just 3. And the same thing for Wicked. It's Wicked Part 2.
Oh. I'm sure there's a lot of clever wordplay in French films that we're not getting.
If I think of an example, I'll tell you. I just think that if it's a biopic about a person and the title is just their last name, the French title will have the full name. So Milk became Harvey. Like Milk became Harvey Milk, right? No ambiguity. It's not about the dairy drink.
Yeah,
it's definitely about a man named Harvey Milk. So that was appreciated.
Thank you, France.
Way to push the boat out.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no. As you have mentioned, Gavin, I did not love Now You See Me 1 or 2, but this is probably the movie I'm most excited about this month, which I think speaks about the month more than it speaks about the movie. I think it has a chance of being overheated and dumb, even though a lot of the jokes in the trailer are very first draft jokes. It is not really promising very much.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's doing the legacy sequel thing. It's like, here are the new young magicians. Do you want to see the kid from The Holdovers be one of these magicians? Not really. And this thing almost never works when you introduce the new cast of youngsters that are going to keep the franchise alive. If this movie becomes a hit, which it might, and they've already greenlit Now You See Me 4.
Yeah, a fourth one. Yeah. That's what the hell are they going to call it?
Yeah.
They've kind of painted themselves into a corner at this point, haven't they?
Now You See Me, Now You Don't 2.
Oh God.
There you go.
See, another issue with legacy sequels is that you can't actually make a sequel to them that has a title that makes any sense. But yeah, so they're introducing that cast of young characters. And the thing is, if this is a hit and they're going to make another one, they're just going to bring back the old characters again because that's all anybody really cares about. Like Star Wars, like kind of almost did it okay. And Scream is kind of almost doing it okay. But almost any other franchise, no one cares about these young people. And Dave Franco should know better. Because now he's one of the legacy stars, but he was previously in the hot young cast of Scrubs season 9, and that went fucking nowhere, for good reason. So I'm not excited about the things that they're doing with it, unfortunately.
Yeah. I guess I do have a soft spot for any film that twins Jesse Eisenberg with Woody Harrelson, because this is sort of their other franchise aside from Zombieland, and I still really like the original Zombieland.
Yeah, that's a great movie. And
you're in luck because the director is coming out with something. I think it's this film. It's this film.
Yeah, they ported over Zombieland director Ruben Fleischer for this and
it is him.
Yeah, they bragged about how he directed Zombieland, also Venom, and I thought, I don't think you want to brag about directing Venom. I guess we live in the dumbest timeline. Oh, there we go.
We really do. Anyway. Also that weekend, we're getting The Running Man, a new adaptation of the Stephen King as Richard Bachman story, directed by Edgar Wright, starring Glenn Powell. Gavin, you watched The Running Man, the original, before this. Are you excited for the remake? Or the reboot? Or the new adaptation?
Well, I am excited for it because it's an Edgar Wright film. And he has I've liked all of his films despite the up and downs of it. including the ones where he doesn't have Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. I feel like the three of them all need to be together for all the cylinders to be firing on all cylinders. But, I mean, the trailers... Right, so first of all, I knew that the 80s film has almost fuck all to do with the story, the Bachman story. It made a lot of changes. It was still a lot of fun. It's a great piece of 80s cheese. I'm kind of shocked when I saw the trailer how much of it seems to take ideas from the 80s film that I wouldn't have expected in the Bachman book, although I haven't read it. So maybe like the flamboyant game show host, that doesn't seem like a Stephen King thing. And I wasn't sure the Running Man was actually televised. Like, how do you televise that? Although that's asking stupid plot questions in advance. The trailer seems to be caught between two tones. Like, it wants to be jokey. And I guarantee you that the Bachman book, I thought like Richard Bachman saying is that he was like a more serious Stephen King, stripped down, no supernatural stuff, and like very cynical about human nature. We really need a King expert on here. But Andrew, have you read the book?
I have not read the book, unfortunately. No, we need to get Mandy or Brian to chime in on this. Yeah, but no, I'm with you. This is probably of the big releases the one I'm looking forward to most this month. I am a big fan of the 80s film, even if... And that's actually part of why I am looking forward to this, is because they can sort of do it without treading on the toes of that film, because it is going off in such a different direction, and it's not obligated to pay tribute to that kind of style and that tone and that art direction. This is like
I'm afraid that they might. I'm afraid they might do it anyway, and that's what. Like I saw the game show host, I was like, "What are you doing? No, this has been done before. Don't try to. You can't one up Richard Dawson in that role."
This is what gives me pause for concern, because we've done this with RoboCop, we've done it with Total Recall, we've done it with Ghost in the Shell. The trying to pay tribute to the imagery and the iconic moments of the original in sort of a glossy CGI heavy modern product almost never works. Although I would quite like to hear Glenn Powell deliver the line, "You cold-blooded bastard, I'll tell you what I think of it. I'll live to see you eat that contract, but I hope you leave enough room for my fist, because I'm going to ram it into your stomach and break your goddamn spine. Rah."
Wow.
If he can deliver that line, then that's going to be a positive for me.
Okay. So I was unaware of this. I have not actually seen the Running Man movie, nor have I read the Bachman book. We are slacking on this one. I've read quite a bit of King, but I just missed that one. I do enjoy that we are getting this year, because we got The Long Walk, we're getting this. We're getting both of the Bachman dystopian movies about various speeds of ambulation. But yeah, I don't know. The thing that makes me curious about it is Edgar Wright. I did not like Last Night in Soho, which was his most recent outing.
See, I did. I kind of
parts
dug
of
Last
it.
Night in Soho. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a certain X factor I enjoyed. I can't quite put my finger on it.
Yeah.
No, and I totally get it. I speak as maybe the biggest Baby Driver fan that there is, and I know people don't necessarily love that one. So I get that his post-Cornetto trilogy can be more divisive. Yeah, I don't know. I like Glenn Powell, but I've been desperately uninterested in the choices he's been making post-Top Gun Maverick. So I'm going to see it, and I hope I like it. I just don't have any sort of anticipatory feelings towards it.
Yeah. It definitely feels more like Baby Driver than any other Wright film I would point to. And sort of like the emphasis on just sort of relentless movement and sort of kineticism that seems to be sort of the driving focus from what I'm seeing in the marketing.
Yeah, it could definitely be something, and we will find out.
It will be 133 minutes long.
Jesus.
Whereas the Schwarzenegger
that.
film was 100, and very brisk. I miss short movies.
Me too. I mean, enough. I've said my piece on that. But let's scoot on over to November 21st. We're getting one of those titles that does not have a subtitle in France. Wicked: For Good, the adaptation of the second act of the Broadway musical. Andrew, let's start with you. How are you feeling about Wicked 2?
Oh man, I don't see myself turning out for this. I actually only caught up with Wicked 1 earlier this year. I am about as far as it's possible to get from like a musical theater person. Um, that being said, I was kind of surprised watching part one. Like I didn't like it. I'll say that up front. I gave it 2.5 stars on Letterboxd. I was taken with the two lead performances, and I quite liked the songs. I thought the songs were
Okay.
actually like, especially Defying Gravity. I know that's sort of like the hottest take of 20 years ago, but I actually think that's kind of an earworm, and I have actually listened to it just on its own merits, just outside of the movie. So, yeah, I I enjoy the sort of razzle dazzle of that kind of song and dance number. I have it on good authority from fans of the show that the second part of the of the musical is the bad half. I don't know if either of you can attest to that.
I cannot. I've not seen Wicked, but yeah, this. I mean, just through cultural osmosis, I was a theater kid in junior high and high school when Wicked was like at the peak of its popularity with that group of people. So I have a lot of osmosis. I know a lot of like the big songs and the basics of the characters, and I know like when I was watching Wicked the first, I was surprised. It's like, oh yeah, I do know this song. I know this song, blah blah blah. But this Act 2, I know the one song, and it's the one that it is named after.
Oh.
So I'm just like, okay, what the hell are we getting from this? And they're larding it up with these two original songs that are Oscar plays that are going to lose to K-pop Demon Hunters. And it just seems kind of laborious, this new one. And also it seems like they lean in because this is also the darker half, which I don't think that the incredibly low contrast Wicked needs to be darker visually. And it seems like they're leaning in on that a little bit, and I'm not very excited for it. It seems like it's leaning in on a lot of its flaws, but I'll watch it. How about you, Gavin?
I'm just curious to know how a 2.5 hour stage show became a 5 hour movie adaptation. I looked at that. This thing is still over 2 hours. It's 138 minutes, which is the devil's runtime.
Yep.
That's the exact worst runtime. Is 138 minutes. I am. I mean, I saw the original Wicked solely because it was nominated for Best Picture, which is something I like to keep up with the Joneses. It's a prison I built for myself, and kind of on the one hand, kind of terrified this will also be nominated for Best Picture just by inertia. Even though, as I've also heard that the second half is not as good as the first. And, like, part of me also wants to know how the story ends because I have not seen the stage show. I have not listened to the music. I only have notions of how the story ends because I've seen The Wizard of Oz. And I know the story of that. To be honest, like, the first half of the film almost takes us there already. There's not a whole lot of conflict left. Before you can drop Dorothy into Oz. That's the idea that Dorothy is some kind of war criminal. I don't find a really compelling take on the Oz mythos. That's...
Yeah,
I don't...
yeah, that's what I find kind of distasteful about the whole Wicked project from the get-go. Like, I know that it's supposed to be a revisionist take on the character. That's sort of like that's the entire sales pitch. But it feels like we're taking so many liberties from the Wizard of Oz, the original story, that essentially we're just telling a completely different story with familiar names attached. And to that point, like, is this really revisionism or is it just, fan fiction?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the 1939 movie is famously unfaithful to the novel, but the
That too.
39 movie is now the canonical version of the story, so I guess we're stuck with that. Whereas pictures of the novel now will follow the movie instead of the stated text with regard to Dorothy's the color of Dorothy's shoes, for example.
Interesting.
Right, this feels like something I'm going to watch because I have to, or just because I don't know. I just want to know how the story ends. I'm not really looking forward to it.
Yeah, me neither. And I'm curious because people seem to think it's going to get some kind of Oscar play, and I do not feel like. I think it'll get thrown some noms, but way less, and probably not win anything.
I
Yeah,
thought they were suckers for like sequel stuff. Like didn't Dune 2 get it got an Oscar prod?
I was gonna say that
And
like Dune 2 feels like the relevant comparison because most of like Dune 2 did not get as many nominations as Dune 1, despite having like better reviews overall. So I think it's kind of Wicked has probably shot its wad on nominations on the first pass, is my impression.
Yeah, and I just like, are they gonna nominate Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande again? It's just like maybe, but I think there's a chance that they just don't. But this movie's gonna make a lot of money, and congrats to them. Another sequel to a movie that made so much money is coming out. We're going to the last release date of the month, November 26th. It's the Wednesday before American Thanksgiving. We're getting Disney's long-awaited sequel to Zootopia. Zootopia 2. Gavin, you have a kid. Are you going to see this?
Zootopia. I do have a kid, but she was not born before. When did the first one come out? 2016?
2016, yeah.
Unless I have not shown her the original Zootopia. Not for any particular reason. There's just so many other better movies to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I have fond memories of the original. I haven't watched it since it was in theaters. I kind of doubt that I'm going to take her to see this. All I can think about is that fanfic where they're a couple and they have an abortion. That's all I think about when I see any Zootopia thing nowadays.
Oh,
and
that's
the fact
kind
that
of
one
romantic,
of the
isn't
trailers, one of the trailers opens with them in like essentially a couples therapy session, and I thought like, is Disney really picking up the baton on this? Well, no, it's because they're partners, right? I can't remember the character's name, like Judy Hopps and
Nick Wilde.
Fox, Nick, whatever, Nick, Jason Bateman.
Yeah. No,
I don't know, like, they're still going with the racial metaphor thing, except now the outsiders are reptiles, I guess. That's what I've picked up. And it just, I mean...
Yeah, I
don't... No feelings, positive or negative. This is a movie that's coming out.
Okay, yeah, and I guess you're talking about how they're bringing in another like kind of racial thing that makes that has vibrations that feel similar to the Zombies franchise. If we're just going to keep introducing allegorical minorities, and I like that. But
where are the birds? Where are the birds in Zootopia? Do they have birds? I can't even remember now.
Yeah,
I think they're all mammals.
Who can say? One. Yeah, I mean, I remember there was like a whole predators versus prey thing, but yeah. So this movie apparently takes place like a week later, which is kind of wild.
Oh, that's okay.
To my understanding. But yeah, to me it looks like the exact same movie. And to the point that they had Shakira make a new song that is the exact same song as the old song. And sure, Ke Huy Quan is playing a snake, and that is very nice for him, and he will make a lot of money off of that. But I'd rather watch him be a human in a good thing than play a snake in Zootopia. So I'm probably not going to see this. How about you, Andrew?
I'm right there with you, Gavin. Like, it's a movie that's coming out, and I don't really have strong feelings one way or another. I did actually see the original Zootopia, or Zootropolis, as it was released on this side of the pond, oddly enough.
Oh.
Yeah, apparently there was a... I hear rumors
with a theme park.
Yeah, there was like a Danish zoo or something that they held the copyright to Zootopia, so all the references to Zootopia were changed to Zootropolis for release over here, which is quite amusing.
Oh, here it's called Zootopia. Well, it's just the Frenchified version, the English. But Moana is called Vaiana, and I'm not quite sure why.
I know why. Because there's an Italian porn star named Moana Pazzi.
I know about her. I think that's an urban legend. I have heard that.
Well, that's a real person though. She exists.
Well, she exists. I think she's dead now.
Well, yeah.
I don't think it has anything to do with that.
But
it might. It just makes it really confusing. It made it really confusing to talk to my daughter about Moana because I would switch titles by accident, and then she wouldn't know what I was talking about. I suspect this will be better than Moana 2.
Yeah, it
seems like this is something they've been working on for longer than a year.
Yeah, to my knowledge, this was not meant to be a Disney Plus series, so that's nice.
But I mean, I like the original well enough. It's actually one of the rare Disney sort of modern films that I did go to see in the theater, and I remember finding it pleasant enough as a sort of like caper. It is like the zombies comparison is apt because similar to zombies, the whole racial metaphor is completely busted from its inception, and I can only see that becoming more so with the sort of introduction of other, other kingdoms of animalia. But I gather that it could be a fun time if you have young kids or you are a young kid. What stuck out to me about the trailer, honestly, was that the animation looked kind of not amazing. Like I kind of take it as read for, Disney or Pixar properties that they're going to have a pretty high standard of technical fidelity. And this, like, it's not jank, but it's really not sort of impressing me with the level of fidelity I saw in the trailer. I don't know, maybe I was watching it at too low resolution, but I don't know, it just doesn't have much going on visually that I found striking.
It does look like they've kind of cutesified it a little bit. Like
I think so. Yeah,
a little softer and cartoonier.
That's maybe what I'm getting at. Like the character designs are definitely a bit more rounded, a bit more bulbous, and a bit more, I don't know, springy. We probably need Tim to sort of like have a bit of insight into what the technical processes are there, but it feels like it skews younger in terms of the visual style than perhaps even the original did.
Yeah, well, I guess you can tell me, because I probably won't see it. Yep.
I look forward to the internet debates about what real-world race is supposed to correspond to reptile.
Oh my God.
I'm sure that'll be interesting.
It'll be so fun and helpful.
Edifying, I'm sure.
Absolutely. But yeah, speaking of edifying, now is the time that we can kind of dig around in the smaller releases, some of the awards bait, limited stuff. And Gavin, you wanted to bring up some specifically French release dates too? Do I recall correctly?
Yeah, there is one, like, I looked at the French release schedule, which is like, it's enormous. There are so many different movies from all over the planet that's dropped through, Paris especially. Like a couple I wanted to mention because they look interesting. One that I'm really excited about, I was like, one that caught my eye, I saw a preview for it just yesterday, is a musical from Chile called La Ola, which is, if it's like the French title, it just means the wave. And it is about these like feminist protests from about 7 years ago, 2018. And the trailer looks more like a horror movie than a musical. It kind of hides the fact that it's a musical. And it looks like this woman is being haunted by crazy people who synchronize their movements together, like the demon in Smile 2.
Okay.
And so that caught my attention. That comes out here November 5th. And maybe it seems like something that's bound for greater things. The film I'm most looking forward to is called Eagles of the Republic, which is the new film by Tariq Saleh, who directed the films Cairo Confidential and it's the one came out, The Cairo Conspiracy. All right, so he has a fixation on Egypt. He's probably Egyptian, and I really liked those two films, Cairo Confidential in particular, which it had to change name for the American release, which is much worse. Just a second, I should look it up so that people can actually find it. The Nile Hilton Incident.
Oh.
What a terrible name. But anyway, it seems like it is about an Egyptian actor who has been asked to play the role of El-Sisi in a biopic, like a propagandistic biopic. And the main actor, like in the role, is Faris Faris, who's kind of like the muse for Tariq Saleh. And you don't get a whole lot of films about. So Sisi is the current despotic ruler of Egypt, by the way. So that's the context. You don't get a whole lot of films about the geopolitics of Egypt. I probably like his films more than they deserve, but there are so few like it. And that comes out on the 12th of November, and I want to rush out to see that as soon as I can. I think probably before I would have prioritized that over The Running Man, for sure, which is what would be coming out that day. Elsewhere. And another film I just wanted to mention to laugh at it. There's a film called Jean Valjean coming out on the 19th.
Oh, no.
And it is it is the origin story. It is about Jean Valjean is the main character from Les Miserables. It is about his time after he's released from prison.
When he becomes the mayor?
The 5 years for what he's done, and the rest because he tried to run, right? After that, but before he becomes the mayor, when he's still a very bitter and hardened criminal, and he meets the kindly priest and his friends, and it's about his change of heart. And I was like, how can you squeeze a whole fucking movie out of this incident that's covered by 2 songs in the musical? It's like, it even shows like the key sequences when he steals the silver and the priest tells the police, I gave him this silver.
Oh my god!
But spoilers for the very beginning of a 1,200-page novel. And just like, it's not going to see any kind of international release. I just wanted to mock it. There's like several bad ideas. There's several movies that are about the making of famous movies, including I think I saw one about the making of Shoah.
Oh god!
Another one about the making. Is like, yeah, that's starting to get too meta. It's like I'm making. And another one about, I don't even remember. Oh, of course.
The Linklater one about
Breathless? Yes, about the making of Breathless. It's already out here in France.
Yeah.
I've been actively ignoring it for the past month. It's been in French theaters since early October. And I feel like a prerequisite for seeing that movie would be to, I like some Linklater movies. I hate others. So I should like him better, but I definitely should like the movie Breathless, and I do not. Or, it is a movie I saw and could check in my 1001 movies to see before you die that I did in fact see it. And I've already seen the biopic about Gene Seberg, so I've done my time.
Very fair.
With Breathless.
It is kind of heretical, but I'm kind of there with you on Breathless. Like, I admit, I watched it as part of my coursework in university, so I probably owe it a rewatch with fresh eyes. But it's like the making of does not get my butt in the seat.
Okay, so what I was gonna say is kind of the opposite, which is that I loved Breathless when I saw it, but I have not seen it since my sophomore year of college, so I can't necessarily trust my feelings. But I would love to throw in some nice feelings about Breathless. I will also say I think expanding the Jean Valjean story there feels in the spirit of Victor Hugo's writing, at the very least, because he does love to spill some ink.
He would love to make it even longer if he could, I guess. But, that section is pretty long in the book, like about 100 pages.
Oh, for sure.
Jean Valjean before, while he's mayor, and before we even see any of the other characters like Fantine.
One of my favorite anecdotes is apparently, for a long time, the shortest correspondence in history was credited to Victor Hugo's telegram with his editor after the release of Les Miserables. He just sent his editor
the question mark?
Yeah, and the editor sent back a single exclamation mark, which I think is kind of like the idea that Hugo was notable for his brevity in one specific instance.
That is so fun. I mean, he was busy writing, and he didn't have time to send telegrams. And one thing I wanted to add about La Ola, which you brought up, Gavin, that's the new movie from Sebastián Lelio, who made Gloria and A Fantastic Woman. So that, I think, could be a very interesting...
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Right, because if flashed the director's name, and I thought I probably should know who that is, it makes it like they're flashing it like I should know who that is. But I did not. I did not know who that was.
Yeah, he's a name that was kicking around a lot in the 2010s more than
I have
recently.
Heard of both of those movies.
Yeah,
and there are two versions of Gloria. They remade it. They remade it, didn't they? In English?
I don't recall.
I'm certain they did.
Was it Gloria Bell, that like Julianne Moore movie or whatever? I'm going to look into what this is. But Andrew, do you have any smaller releases you wanted to point at?
One that out of the list that you gave us of the limited releases, Brennan, one that I think we can't go without mentioning is the November 7th release of Die My Love.
No.
Which is by my countrywoman, Lynn Ramsey. Amazingly, it's been 8 years at this point since the release of You Were Never Really Here. But I think both that and We Need to Talk About Kevin are both kind of like low-key masterpieces. I have no idea what the actual pitch is for this film, just that it has Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson playing sort of these very weirdy, touchy-feely lovers, and there's some sort of dark undercurrent to their relationship. So I'm intrigued just to see what's going on with that. I think Ramsey has a real uncanny knack for character psychology and coming at characters from directions you wouldn't necessarily expect, and just digging into these psychological profiles in really interesting, sort of ingratiating ways for the audience. So I'm definitely curious to see this. And the other one that you just about grabbed from McGavin is, yes, Sisu. I had a blast with the original Sisu a few years back, which, if you're not familiar, is a Finnish film. It's sort of vaguely based on the legend of Simo Haya, who was a sniper in the Finnish-Russian War back in the 40s, who is here elevated to almost like mythic status as this kind of boogeyman who the Nazis in the first film, it's going to be the Soviets in this film, are mortally terrified of by his seemingly immortal prowess. And it's all rendered in these incredibly unlikely looking stunt set pieces that involve crashing planes and extreme violence, like all ratcheted up to a very sort of cartoonish register, but in that kind of Scandinavian dead snow sort of we enjoy laughing at people suffering kind of way. So yeah, I think like I had a blast with the first one, and this looks like more of the same, so I'm up for it.
Yeah, and just like Dead Snow 2, Sisu 2 is adding a couple English-speaking actors in the hope that anyone in America will kind of pick it up.
Attention.
I mean, well, because
I think Sisu is known in America. Like, my dad caught it on TV.
Yeah, well, no, that's what I mean. So I guess what I meant is that it had kind of a groundswell of support in America, and they're like, oh, let's play to them a little bit. So the people they chose to add are Stephen Lang and Richard Brake, which it'll get someone. I'm not. I'm not sure who. Other than...
I wasn't sure I recognized him in the trailer. Oh, that's cool. Mm-hmm. That gets me on board a bit. He feels like the right fit.
Yeah, no, but it's just like I don't think it's appealing to an audience that wasn't already going to watch Sisu 2.
Sure.
I feel like the Soviets are always a trade down from the Nazis. I know that's where you go next historically. But, Indiana Jones did it, and it didn't work as well, and now Sisu's doing it. Like, why couldn't they just have Nazis, an enclave of Nazis after World War II?
I generally agree. I think the Finns are uniquely well positioned to make the Soviets.
That is true. That makes more sense, to be honest. But they're not very. I mean, they're cartoon Soviets anyway. Mm-hmm. Ridiculous.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Rocky and Bullwinkle accents. There were two on the less wide releases, the limited releases that caught my attention.
Sure.
And one of them was Keeper, and I have not seen any of Osgood Perkins' other horror films, mostly because people have kind of divided opinions on them. And I watched several of the trailers of this one. I saw something in one of the trailers that freaked me out, and that caught my attention real good. So you guys, it's not on the French release schedule, so you guys will probably see it before me. But I'm kind of interested in what you guys think of that.
He is fucking cranking them out. Because, like, The Monkey was just earlier this year. Like, and Longlegs, wasn't that just last year? Like, he's got his nose to the grindstone.
He really has. And frankly, The Monkey was my favorite of his movies. So I was like, maybe let's keep moving in that direction. Not that The Monkey was, I didn't think The Monkey was great, but I am almost always underwhelmed by an Osgood Perkins movie. I kind of hated Longlegs, did not like The Blackcoat's Daughter or Gretel and Hansel. And Keeper feels like it's more in keeping with the tone of those, so I don't know.
That's interesting because I wasn't keen on The Monkey, but I did like Longlegs. So there's a
right.
There you go.
Andrew's review is a specific reason I didn't see The Monkey. I was interested in seeing it, and then he gave it a negative review. I was like, well, if Andrew doesn't like it, I probably won't like it. So it's too many Stephen King adaptations in one calendar year.
Oh, for sure.
Healthy.
And half of them star Mark Hamill.
The other movie that caught my attention for probably negative reasons is Hamnet.
Oh my god!
As I didn't realize, like when I saw the title, I was like, "Oh, this better not be about Shakespeare." And of course, it's about Shakespeare. Of course, it's about his son. And the thing that, like, I watched the trailer, and I was kind of shocked they're going to somehow tie this into. I'm really tired of biopics in general. Biopics where there's a direct correlation to something happening in the author's life, and then that causes them to create like their greatest work.
Yep.
Which like sometimes becomes self-parody. It's like I think the Tolkien biopic, like he sees flamethrowers during World War I, and then he decides to write a book with a dragon in it as a result of that. That seems awfully reductive. It's just like, what is the connection between William Shakespeare's like young son who died as a kid and Hamlet, Prince of Denmark? I cannot think of like like, of course, Hamlet's a tragedy. It's sad. That's the only connection I can think between the two. And how is writing about like an indecisive prick a tribute to your dead son? And I don't care to know how Chloe Zhao is going to resolve that because.
Are they directly trying to link that in? I have not watched the trailer because this is not a movie I'm going to see. So, are they like really hitting the Hamlet connection?
Yes,
That's
like
fucking
explicitly
stupid.
in the trailer, and they've changed Anne Hathaway's name to Agnes, which is there are at least historical documents justifying that.
Yeah.
Hamnet's name is also spelled Hamlet. It's like in the 16th century. You know, Johnson was it? Who wrote the dictionary? Who wrote the dictionary? No. Damn it. It hadn't. In any case, the English dictionary hadn't been written yet. People didn't know how to spell. Samuel Johnson. There we go. Not Ben Johnson.
And
right.
I think the more accepted spelling of the kid's name is Hamnet. So I think that's not really. I mean,
it's basically the same name, Hamlet and Hamnet. And people are saying, you know, in the Danish tale that Hamlet's based off of, he's just called Amleth without the H. And so Shakespeare adding that H, I guess, tribute to his dead son. It's like I'm perplexed. It perplexes me.
Was a fact
there was a movie
kind of
about
blew
this...
my mind when The Northman came out.
Yeah, that's there is a movie about the exact same thing that came out in 2018 with Kenneth Branagh called All Is True, which is also about the death of Hamnet and its effect on Shakespeare's output. But it has a very different perspective on it, and I will not be watching that except maybe. I feel like I have to watch it. Hamnet's probably going to be nominated for Best Picture. Probably won't win because Zhao's already had her. She got her turn. Just as I said, I've constructed this cage for myself, so I'm going to have to sit through it. Watching Paul Mescal and...
Is it Jesse Buckley? Is that the other one?
Jesse Buckley, yes. And that's not an exciting cast for me.
Yeah.
No, I mean, certainly post Gladiator 2, it has sown such doubt to me about Paul Mescal's ability to lead a movie. Obviously, this is a completely different type of thing. But he needs to really woo me to get me on board with a new movie of his, and this is not it. Because, like you, Gavin, I really hate the slow destruction of the idea of creativity that is author biopics. The idea that authors couldn't possibly have thought of a character or a story without experiencing it in their own life. And frankly, I mean, I know Shakespeare was affected by the death of his son. He was. But also, I feel like we're making kind of a meal out of something that happened a lot during the time of the fucking plague. Like,
yeah.
And certainly during the time that Shakespeare was alive, a child dying just kind of happened. And I don't think they would have necessarily needed a whole movie to be about it. They would have been like, yeah, that was Tuesday. We were sad for a week, and now we're writing Hamlet. I changed the H. We did it.
It's based on a novel. It came out in 2020. It seems like some kind of, I don't know, dreary romance novel. We'll see. As I said, I will probably watch it.
And more power to you.
Yeah,
I can't say that
I can't say that I'm rushing out. And yeah, I completely co-sign everything you were saying, Brennan, about like the erosion of the idea that an author can come up with something from whole cloth. Like that's sort of something that needs to be protected. So yeah, I'm not get on board with that.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. Is it? I'm sure this happened before Shakespeare in Love, but I'm inclined to blame Shakespeare in Love for this.
Oh, that's a good.
Shakespeare in Love is. It definitely feels like Shakespeare in Love, and that's a bad thing, in my opinion. That's when I haven't been able to make it through. I don't understand why we have to mythologize Shakespeare's life. Like his life is the least interesting part about him. His plays are interesting, but his life is not.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also we never talk about the things in his life that are, not necessarily, like, I mean, basically nothing about Shakespeare is historically documented in a way where we can say 100% that this is something true about Shakespeare. But there's a lot of evidence that, like, he had a lot of affairs with men, including one that he wrote a bunch of the sonnets about. And I'm like, Let's see that movie.
Well, didn't we have doesn't Anonymous? I didn't see Anonymous.
I don't think
feel like
Anonymous
it
sort of
go there.
addresses it from that angle. Like it just that's more from the idea that what is it that
Someone else
Queen
wrote his
Elizabeth
plays.
had? Yeah,
Yeah, the Francis Bacon.
Francis
Right?
Bacon. Yeah, and
Okay,
something
it's
like
Edward
that.
de Vere in Anonymous. I feel like Roland Emmerich should have made that movie instead of Anonymous, or he would be the one to make that movie if he wants to get back in the Shakespeare well.
I don't know about that. Didn't he make? I mean, didn't he make that gay movie Stonewall that
Stonewall,
everyone
yes,
hated?
And
yeah.
that got extremely tarred and feathered.
I
Yeah.
wasn't saying this in good faith here. I want Roland Emmerich to make Roland Emmerich movies, so that's.
He should make a
I
movie
don't-
where Shakespeare has to fight an earthquake or something.
So
He has to stop the fire. He has to stop the globe fire.
Yeah, he has to travel
There we
forward
go.
in time.
There's our.
But yeah, I think I don't really have anything to throw in as far as the limited releases. I anticipate having a very miserable November as far as cinema goes. So I think we can wrap up. I think we've been talking long enough. But is there any last thoughts you want to throw out before we go?
I had a couple of things that I just wanted to throw in at the end there. First of all, like this is not a movie, but if you do like the idea of Shakespeare fighting an earthquake, you can get something pretty close in the novel *The Rise and Fall of Dodo* by Neil Stephenson that came out a few years ago. That book is a hoot. Also, there is one final limited release I just wanted to throw the hat in the ring. It is being released on video on demand, I think November 25th. This is the South Korean thriller *The Old Woman with the Knife*, which A,
Ooh.
great title, B, it is an action movie starring a 65-year-old woman, which is just not really something you tend to see very often, and I think it's had a lot of good reviews and good buzz from film festivals over this year. So maybe just keep an eye out for that if that's sort of something you have an appetite for.
Certainly. How about you, Gavin? Any last thoughts?
On December 3rd, 2025, France will receive the remastered version of Angel's Egg. And I just want to rub that in all your faces. So you guys get all the prestige movies before that, but I'm going to watch Angel's Egg on a theater screen. And I'm going to
We
enjoy
will-
it.
I would love to see Angel's Egg on a big screen. That sounds amazing.
I don't actually know what that is. What's Angel's Egg?
Oh, that's a
an-
Mamoru Oshii anime film from the 80s. It's the guy who directed Ghost in the Shell subsequently, and it incorporates a lot of art from Yoshitaka Amano, who was very storied artist.
Final Fantasy
who's-
guy.
Yeah, the Final Fantasy guy and the Vampire Hunter D guy. So
Great.
having
Okay,
his
cool.
stuff in motion is very. It's worth seeing.
Cool. Yeah. So this was back in the era when the English titles of anime movies had less than 3 words in them.
Yes. Yeah.
Because right now we have what is it? Chainsaw Man the movie Reze Arc in theaters, and
Yes.
last month it was I love saying the title of Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba the movie Infinity Castle.
That's the one.
Which was last month.
I was planning
You
to
mean
see
if-
Chainsaw Man
you mean-
today. They moved the screenings. That was going to be my
No.
movie roundtable, but I missed it.
Oh well, I'm so sorry. But Gavin, what were you saying?
I feel like, excuse me, you missed part of the title of the Demon Slayer movie. I think there's another thing after the subtitles, like the Revenge of,
There might be.
the
Certainly
Revenge of, what's the name of the demon in that one? The one they fight at the end.
couldn't
Oh,
tell you.
I think that might be a French thing. I'm not certain.
Yeah, I haven't seen an English language title even longer, but I'd love it to be longer.
Yeah, same.
It is definitely longer. There's another part to the title.
Okay, well we will look into that. But in the meantime, I'll do the spiel. Well, actually, no. Where can we? Do you want to point people to anything online where they can find you? Let's start with Andrew while Gavin looks this up.
I don't have anything new to plug since I was last on the show, I don't think. Although I will say that last time I pushed people to my Letterboxd account, and it seems to have worked because I got my 200 followers. So I feel like I got my flowers.
Hey!
So thanks very much for that, guys. So yeah, if you want to find me on Letterboxd, I'm just there as Andrew Milne. Usually posting. I'm pretty active.
Yeah, absolutely. You should still do that, even though he has already hit the goal. Also, yeah, you can find me on Letterboxd. You can find me on most social networks on at It's Raining Brens. You can find more episodes of this show and others on alternateending.com. Join the Discord. You can do that through the website also. You can talk to Gavin and Andrew and a bunch of contributors to this podcast and listeners of this podcast. And then people who are also there. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so the full title of the Demon Slayer movie is Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Infinity Castle, Part 1, Akaza Returns.
Oh.
So there you go.
I love when a character returns in the first part of something.
Well, he's not coming back. Spoiler.
Oh, well, I wasn't gonna watch it, so I'm not worried personally.
Okay,
but yeah, you can join the Discord via the website. You can also join the Patreon. It will allow you to get some of Tim's reviews early. It'll allow you to vote in the polls for what we talk about on Bride of Alternate Ending. You'll get access to trivia and other things like that. Have I done everything right? Yeah, Gavin, how about you?
I don't think I have anything to plug. It's just all academic stuff. No one wants to hear about that.
Okay. Well, in that case, you can catch up with Gavin on the Discord if you would like. And yeah, that's going to do it for us. We'll see you next week. I believe we're having a Your Movie Rocks episode to kick off November, but if we don't, I'm sure there'll be something. Catch you then, everybody. Bye-bye.